If you want them to regret losing you, do these 6 things immediately. Have you ever wondered what really makes someone regret losing you? Most people think the answer is begging, sending long emotional messages, or posting sad quotes online hoping they'll notice. But the truth is, none of that works. In fact, it usually pushes them even further away. The real trick is something much quieter and much more powerful. It's what you choose to do after they walk out of your life. Because when you handle that moment the right way, something strange begins to happen. They start thinking about you again. They check your profile. They wonder how you're doing. And sometimes, they even come back asking to talk. But here's the twist. By the time they realize what they lost, you may already be too busy becoming the strongest, happiest version of yourself. In this video, I will show you 6 ways to make the person who just left you regret it deeply. And before we begin, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next videos. The first thing you need to do is simple, but incredibly powerful. Disappear completely from their life. I know this sounds hard. When someone leaves, every instinct inside you wants to reach out. You want to send one more message. You want to check their social media. You want to know what they're doing, who they're with, and whether they're thinking about you. That urge is normal. But if you truly want them to feel the weight of losing you, the most powerful move you can make is silence. No texting, no calling, no reacting to their posts, no watching their stories, no asking mutual friends about them. You simply step out of their world. And here's why this works. When you are always around, always available, always responding within seconds, you slowly become something predictable, something expected. People stop noticing what is always there. It's like air in the room. You don't think about it because it never leaves. But the moment that presence disappears, something changes in the human mind. Suddenly they notice the silence. They notice you're not checking their stories anymore. They notice you're not liking their photos. They notice the messages that used to come are no longer there. And without even realizing it, their mind begins to ask questions. Where did you go? Why are you suddenly quiet? Are you moving on? Curiosity begins to grow. Your absence starts speaking louder than your presence ever did. But there is something important you need to understand. You are not disappearing to manipulate them or play games. You are disappearing to protect your energy and redirect your focus back to the one person who truly deserves it, yourself. Instead of watching their life, you start living your own. Instead of wondering what they are doing, you start rebuilding what you want your life to look like. And that shift changes everything. Because when someone looks back and realizes you didn't chase them, didn't beg, didn't try to pull them back, it sends a very clear message. You respected yourself enough to walk away. And sometimes, that silence becomes the loudest thing they hear. The second thing you need to do is this. Stop talking about them. This may sound simple, but in reality, this is where most people fail. They stop texting the person who left them. They stop calling. They try to disappear from that person's life. But at the same time, they keep talking about them to everyone else. They tell their friends the entire story again and again. They analyze every message, every moment, every mistake. They post sad quotes online that clearly point to the breakup. They drop hints on social media, hoping that person will see it. And without realizing it, they are still giving that person space in their life. Every time you bring them up in conversation, you keep them alive in your mind. You keep replaying the past. You keep feeding the emotional attachment that is supposed to be fading away. But there is another problem most people do not think about. In many cases, what you say eventually finds its way back to them. A mutual friend might casually mention that you are still upset. Someone might say you talk about them all the time. And when the person who left you hears that, a very specific thought often appears in their mind. They think you are still waiting. They think you still care deeply. They think that if they ever wanted to come back, you would probably be there. And that removes any sense of loss for them. Strong people do something different. When someone asks about the situation, they keep it calm and simple. They say they are focusing on other things now. If someone tries to dig deeper, they gently change the subject. They do not vent. They do not explain the entire story. They do not turn the breakup into a long drama that keeps repeating. Instead, they protect their peace. Because the moment you stop talking about someone, something powerful happens. Your mind slowly begins to let go. The emotional weight becomes lighter. The story stops controlling your day. And from the outside, it sends a quiet but powerful message. You are moving forward. You are not stuck in the past. You are not chasing closure. You are not trying to hold on to something that is already gone. And when the person who left you eventually realizes that their name no longer appears in your conversations, it can create a very unexpected reaction. They start wondering why. They start asking themselves a question they never thought about before. Did they lose someone who was actually stronger than they realized? The third thing you need to do is this: become a better version of yourself. When someone leaves your life, it creates an empty space. Many people fill that space with sadness, overthinking, and endless questions. They replay the past again and again, trying to understand what went wrong. But there is a much more powerful way to use that space. You use it to grow. Instead of watching their life from a distance, you start rebuilding your own. You begin focusing on the parts of yourself that were ignored for too long. Maybe you start exercising and taking care of your health. Maybe you begin learning something new, reading more, building a new skill, or finally trying that hobby you always said you would start one day. Little by little, your energy begins to change. You start spending more time with people who genuinely appreciate you. You laugh more. You feel stronger. Your confidence slowly comes back. And the interesting thing is that when someone truly starts improving their life, it shows. It shows in the way you walk into a room. It shows in the way you speak. It shows in the calm energy you carry with you. People notice that change. Your friends notice it first. They see that you are no longer the same person who was hurt and confused. You are more focused, more positive, and more comfortable in your own skin. And sooner or later, the person who left you may notice it too. Maybe they see a photo of you looking healthier and happier. Maybe they hear from a mutual friend that you are doing really well. Maybe they run into you somewhere and suddenly realize something they never expected. You are not broken. You are not struggling without them. You are actually doing better than before. And that realization can be very uncomfortable for them, because in their mind, they may have imagined a different story. They may have thought that you would be lost without them, that you would be waiting, that your life would somehow pause after they left. But instead, they see someone who kept moving forward, someone who used the pain as fuel for growth. And that is the moment when regret often begins to appear. Not because you tried to prove something to them, but because you focused on becoming the person you were always meant to be. The next thing you need to remember is this: do not react to the small signals they send back. At some point, after you disappear from their life, stop talking about them and start focusing on yourself. Something interesting often happens. The person who left you may suddenly reappear in a small and subtle way. It might be a random message that says, "Hey, how have you been?" It might be a like on one of your photos. Maybe they watch every story you post. Sometimes it is a short message late at night saying they miss you. These are what many people call small signals. They are not real effort. They are small pieces of attention sent your way to see how you will react. In many cases, the person is simply testing the door. They want to know if you are still there, still available, still emotionally connected to them. And this is where many people lose all the progress they made. The moment that message appears on the screen, their heart starts racing. They get excited. They think this means the person wants them back. So they reply immediately. They ask questions. They restart long conversations. Suddenly they are available again, just like before. But the message that sends is very clear. It tells the other person that nothing has changed, that they can still come and go whenever they want. If you truly respect yourself, you handle these moments differently. Sometimes the strongest response is no response at all. You simply continue living your life without reacting to every small signal they send. Other times, if you do respond, you keep it short, calm, and neutral. You do not jump back into emotional conversations. You do not reopen old stories. Because real regret does not show up as a casual message. When someone truly realizes they lost something valuable, They show it with real effort. They take responsibility. They apologize sincerely. They try to rebuild trust. They do not just drop a small message and disappear again. You have to remember your worth. You are not someone who waits around for crumbs of attention. You are someone who deserves respect, clarity, and genuine effort. And when you stop reacting to those small signals, you send a quiet but powerful message. Your life is moving forward. And if someone truly wants to be part of it again, they will have to show up in a real way. The next thing you need to do is this. Live your life as if you have already won. This mindset changes everything. After a breakup, many people fall into the same emotional trap. They live as if they are waiting for a message, waiting for closure, waiting for the other person to come back and fix what was broken. But when you live like that, your life slowly becomes paused. Your happiness becomes dependent on someone else's decision. Living like you have already won means something very different. It means you stop living as if your story depends on whether that person returns or not. You wake up each day focused on your own life. You put your energy into your goals, your friendships, your passions, and the future you want to build. You enjoy small moments again. You laugh more easily. You begin to feel peace returning to your life. And when someone truly reaches that state, people can feel it. There is a quiet confidence in the way you carry yourself. You are no longer chasing anyone. You are no longer trying to prove your value. You already know your worth. Ironically, this is often the moment when the person who left you begins to see things clearly. They see someone who is not desperate, not bitter, and not stuck in the past. Instead, they see someone who is calm, confident, and moving forward. And that realization can hit them hard, because they start thinking about what they walked away from. They remember the loyalty, the care, the love that once existed. They realize they had someone valuable in their life, and they let it go. But by that time, something important has already changed. You are no longer living for their approval. You are living for yourself. The final thing you need to understand is this. The real victory is not making them regret losing you. It is becoming someone who no longer needs them to come back. When people first go through a breakup, their mind is often focused on one question. How do I make them realize what they lost? How do I make them regret their decision? That feeling is natural. When someone walks away, a part of you wants them to understand your value. But something interesting happens when you follow the steps we talked about. When you disappear from their life, when you stop talking about them, when you focus on improving yourself and start living your life with confidence, slowly, your perspective begins to change. You start noticing that your days feel lighter. Your mind feels calmer. Your life becomes more peaceful. You begin building new routines, new goals, and new connections. The version of you that grows during this time is stronger than the one who was left behind. And sometimes, the person who walked away does come back. They might reach out again. They might apologize. They might say they made a mistake and want another chance. But by the time that moment arrives, something inside you may already be different. You may realize that you no longer feel the same way. Because during the time they were gone, you discovered something important. You discovered that your happiness does not depend on them. You discovered that your life can move forward without waiting for someone to choose you. And that is the real turning point. The goal was never revenge. The goal was never proving them wrong. The real goal was becoming someone who feels complete on their own. And once you reach that place, whether they come back or not, no longer controls your story. So here is the truth. When someone leaves your life, the most powerful thing you can do is not chase them, not beg, and not try to prove your worth. The real power comes from focusing on yourself. You step back. You stop talking about them. You grow. And you start living your life with confidence again. And somewhere along that journey, something amazing happens. You realize your happiness was never dependent on them in the first place. Now, I'm curious about you. Which idea in this video hit you the most? If you believe in choosing yourself and moving forward, write the word "forward" in the comments below. And if this video helped you see things in a new way, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next videos. I'll see you in the next one.